Hey everybody, Beth Wietrkowski, Michael Saunders and Company. I am in the parking lot right now of the blood bank because I have an appointment here in a little bit to give blood. And wanted to come to you and talk to you a little bit about seller disclosures. This is something that pops up quite a bit. A seller disclosure is a form that the seller fills out and gives to the buyer. Now, unlike the contract for sale, this is not a state-specific or MLS-specific HITOD form. This is something that each individual, hey John, each individual company creates themselves. Now, don't let that bother you because the majority of the information on these forms is consistent throughout the companies here in the area. But what information is on there is not necessarily regulated, okay? Now, the idea behind a seller disclosure form is the seller is telling you to the best of their knowledge what the condition of the property is. Some of the things they will cover is, hi Melissa, some of the things they will cover is there roof leak? Have you had any leaky pipes? Have you done major renovations? How old are the appliances? Is there anything going on with the property that could affect the market value? Are you on septic or sewer? Are you on well or are you on public water? Do you have a buried septic tank? Do you have a swimming pool? What's the condition of the swimming pool? Within this form, you're going to say, the roof was replaced in X amount of time. Hi, Lorna. The appliances are X years old. There was a leak in the bathroom when we fixed it. And this is where the seller has the opportunity to tell you everything that they've done to the house. Now, that doesn't mean they know everything. So don't take that as the be all end all of the condition of the house, because let's face it, if you have a slow leak in your roof, you're not going to know about it until it comes through your ceiling, right? That doesn't mean that you don't have water collecting within your attic. Your typical seller is not going to know that, because I don't know about you people, but I don't get in my attic, not in Florida. Our attics are basically useless. There's no reason for us to be up there. So if your roof has a small leak or has tiles that are loose and could create a leak, or if there's moisture underneath something, your seller isn't going to know that. And we can't use this seller disclosure form as a reason to assume, hi Eric, that your seller is not telling the truth, because that's not the case. If you go and do your inspection and your inspector finds that there is excessive moisture behind the bathroom sink, possibly indicating that there's a pipe back there that may have a pinhole leak, your seller isn't going to know that. Okay, so that's what it is. The idea of the seller disclosure is for the seller to tell you about things that were done to the house so that they are aware of. They repaired this item, they replaced this item, they enclosed the sunroom, they added a garage, they replaced the roof. That is what that information is for, okay? Now, here's where people get into problems. There are times, and this is incredibly rare, where a seller will not be truthful on the seller disclosure. If that is the case, it is now up to the buyer and the buyer's agent to prove it. Okay, and unfortunately, that is just the way the law works. You have to have proof in order to have anything done about it. Typically, what will happen is that the seller will say, nope, roof's not leaking, roof is fine, everything's good, we're happy. And then the buyer will get in and they know that the roof needs replaced, and they call, I don't know, 4 or 5 roofing companies to get quotes and time frames and everything like that. And then they call ABC Roofing Company, and ABC Roofing Company goes, well, yeah, I got a call on this 3 months ago and told them that they had to replace the roof because there was a leak when I went to the attic. Then you have a case, okay? But that is such a rare instance where the seller disclosure is untrue, okay? Sellers, you disclose. That is the best way to cover yourself. If you come to me and say, Beth, I'm not sure if I should say whatever, yeah, you should. You absolutely should. If you know that there's a low spot in your backyard, disclose it. You are always better off disclosing information and not holding anything back. Always, always, always. And that's what you're going to do. Now, let's talk about filling out the form. Per Florida law, I can't fill it out for you. So you've got a 6-page form with a lot of questions on it, a lot of boxes, a lot of yes or no answers. And then there's a whole section at the end where if you've checked yes somewhere, you go to the bottom and you fill it out and give the details, right? I cannot fill that out for you. I have to give it to you. Hi, Chris. And you have to fill it out. What I can do as your realtor is if there's a line in there and you're like, I don't really know what this means. I don't know what this particular item is. I can explain it to you. I cannot put pen to paper and fill it out for you. For some people, this is difficult, and I get it. I totally get it, but you have to fill it out or get somebody to help you fill it out. I, as a realtor, am not allowed to do that. Okay, so you're always best to not leave any blanks. If there's something, for example, when it asks about the pool and you don't have a pool, just put a line through it or put NA. Just don't leave any blanks. Okay, if you are working with a realtor who gives this form to you and it is already filled out, don't sign it. That's a problem. Okay, it needs to come from you, because if there is a concern that shows up later in your transaction, you having not filled that out is going to be a huge red flag, and it's going to possibly create more problems than it needs to. So bottom line is, seller disclosure, there is no universal form in the state of Florida. Each and every company has their own, and occasionally they change. So if you worked with Michael Saunders and Company 5 years ago and you're working with us now, there's a good possibility that the form looks a little different. And the reason the form looks a little different is because we are made aware as we go through this life of real estate that certain things change, you know, and you all know this too. So, and as these things change and we become aware of them, we update our forms. So you're going to fill out this form. It's part of your whole listing package, which you do. It has to be in your handwriting. You have to sign and initial every single page, or initial and date every page, and then sign the last page. And this is the form that we give to your buyers so that you can tell them, to the best of your knowledge as a seller, this is what you've done to the house. This is the updates you've made. These are the corrections you've made. You know that the roof is good, that there's no leaks or whatever, or that there is, and this is what you've done to correct it. It is a really vital piece of information. Occasionally, you will have a non-residential seller disclosure. In my personal opinion, I think this is abused, but the intent of it is, for example, estate sales. You know, somebody passes or goes into a nursing home, and then you have to, you know, a brother or somebody sells it, not somebody who's actually resided in the property, and so forth. What did you say, John? I gotta put my glasses on. Once disclosed, does it become part of MLS so the next buyer or seller has that knowledge? No. That's a really excellent question. Here's what happens though. It's once it's disclosed, let's say, you know, let's keep using our roof leak example. It is now up to the seller and the seller's agent to disclose that there is a current roof leak. You are supposed to disclose it. It goes on the form. When I'm the agent, I actually put it in the listing under realtor remarks, just so everybody's on the same page, and then my seller does not have an issue. But yes, it is for things like that. If you change something like you just bought a new fridge, that may not necessarily go into MLS, but concerns and issues like that, like a roof leak, a pipe leak, anything like that will go in there. The other ones are advantageous because it is an improvement. Maybe your refrigerator wasn't broken, but you put a new one in because you thought it would help sell the house. But yes, once it is discovered, if that property does not close, it now has to be on the seller disclosure for the next buyer who comes along. And those things are pretty much easy to track. So anyways, that's in a nutshell. Thanks for the question, John. That's really good. I hope I answered it. If I didn't, let me know. The seller disclosure. Oh yeah, back to the non-occupant. Sometimes what will happen is if you have someone who has never resided on the property, they're part of the estate sale, maybe it's a cousin or a brother or something, they really don't know anything about the property, they'll do a non-occupant seller disclosure indicating their status with the property, and they really can't tell you anything about it because they weren't part of the process of doing any improvements or repairs or anything like that. You'll sometimes find that investors who are selling off rental properties will use this. I personally don't agree with it because the investor is still getting the roof fixed, getting the pipes fixed, getting the AC repaired, replacing appliances and things like that. There are certain things that the investor may not know, and if that's the case, you just put a line through it. But I think those other questions still need to be answered. It's a gray area with kids. Sometimes kids are selling off their parents' property. There is an argument to be had that, how did you not know that mom and dad replaced the roof? That sort of thing. But you just do the best of your ability, take the form, fill it out as best as you can. And for the areas you don't know, just flat out say, I don't know. But try really, really hard not to use the non-occupant form. You're always better giving as much information as possible. Once you go under contract, until you close, once you disclose as much information as you know, it makes that whole process easier, and it is less likely to scare off your buyer. Because if your buyer comes in with an inspection and finds things and they think you knew about it, they're going to walk. There's a really good chance that they're going to walk, or they're going to hold your feet to the fire. So disclose, disclose, disclose. Put as much information on this form as you possibly can so that your buyer walking in the door knows exactly what is going on with the house. So I hope that helps. That's just one of the forms that you're going to fill out, and as a seller, and one of the forms that you're going to see as a buyer. So I hope everybody has a great day. If you have any other questions with this, and thanks for that question, John, that was fantastic, throw it in the comments and I'll answer it. If you have any questions about real estate in general, throw it in the comments and I'll pick it up on Friday when I come back and do this again. Have a great day. We're going to be in the low 90s. It's going to be gorgeous. So stay hydrated and wear your sunscreen. Bye, everybody.